because you all know that we stand at a moment of choice.
The window is still open, but rapidly shutting. There is still a small global carbon budget remaining, some 300 gigatons of carbon dioxide.
The science is clear. For us to have a livable planet, global emissions must be halved by this decade.
Nature is our life source. It provides a stable climate, food, and overall well-being. But right now, nature is not being valued as much as it should.
We should be multiplying by 3 for our current efforts. Probably things do not change in a linear manner, but we need to accelerate the transformation.
To reach the targets that we have in Europe in 2030, every single year from today till 2030, we need to build 16 gigawatts of offshore wind in Europe. That's almost a 6-fold increase from what we managed to do last year. And I can tell you already in 2023, we're not going to hit the 16 gigawatt target.
All the major models that stabilize around 1.5 with some overshoot end up with, by 2030, reaching net zero for the land sector. That's just in 7 years' time. So it's a phenomenal. It's only on an exponential trajectory can we actually manage that kind of scale of change we need.
To drive out the fossil economy, as you can see on the slide, we need to scale up the climate solutions. But that can only happen at the pace we need if we push these solutions over the tipping point into rapid exponential acceleration.
We can act as a lighthouse by showing that it is possible, showing that we have the customers, and also showing that there is a market for green steel and green iron. And by doing that, we will be able to help the rest of the steel sector to transition.
The lever one is to secure that we fully transition to zero emissions vehicles by 2032. So after 2032, we can basically not sell fossil fuel cars anymore. Lever two is securing that the charging grids around the world run solely on fossil-free energy, preferably renewable. And lever three, to secure that we radically decarbonize the way that we produce electric vehicles. We need to reduce supply chain emissions by 81% until 2032.
If we should succeed, we need to collaborate between peers and value chains in completely new ways to break the boundaries, to go much, much faster.
We set aside 100 million euros as a financing option for our supply partners, so removing the barrier of financing.
And we, of course, used our own green transformation from a fossil-based company to a renewable energy leader to develop these best practices and very 3 simple engagement levers. These are also simple and clear because our suppliers were, of course, at a totally different maturity level than we were.
The only way that we can get that exponential change that we need is through collaboration. Just by sharing best practice, leading by example, and spreading the message.
We can put the requirements on our suppliers, but when we put requirements on suppliers, we also have to help them meet those requirements.
Every institution and company needs to realize that they have a financial supply chain as well as their material supply chains. And that composes their financial activities, assets, and relationships.
Companies are also, of course, clients of banks, and they often have a lot of money, and they are maybe more important, an individual company. So they can play a role here in accelerating the banks transitioning.
It's the markets that will solve this, and it's our as customers that we can do the change. But the policymakers has to be clear on where we're heading, the target.
So just creating a level playing field at the very minimum, I think is a starting point. Removing taxes and VATs which are clearly distorting, and subsidies.
Protect people, not industries. So rather than saying let's protect these old industries, no. Withdraw support for those incumbents, but protect people, protect workers.
We need to start pricing in many different types of externalities, not just carbon. We are not pricing land. We're not pricing air. We're not pricing water. We're not pricing biodiversity. And that's why you end up with market distortions. The problem is not that some poor people need some energy infrastructure and there is a lot of money out there, and if they only fix their domestic policies, the money will flow. The problem is that we have a global level market failure, a triple market failure that we're choosing to ignore. If we start fixing these market failures, all of which can be fixed in this calendar year alone, we will see a completely different exponential flow of finance.
There is no safe landing on an incremental linear journey. It's all about exponentials today.
The key technologies in the energy sector are wind, solar, and batteries, and we can see the exponential change happening.
Human beings do not change in a linear way. We change through exponential curves.
Things can happen very, very rapidly. With the right incentives coming together, I could imagine diets could be absolutely transformed within a decade.
This future is not dull and deprived. We can indeed live different but rich and great lives.
Not only do we have the solutions, not only can they be scaled, but they give better outcomes.
We've never been better equipped to solve the climate challenge, but we must now move forward into high gear.